So this is, I don't know for quorum, but I'm going to just say this is the informal introduction of the Charter Review Committee on August 5th. And I'm Karen Camfield from the Board of Selectmen as the representative from our board. We have Nicole Brandolini, who is the representative from the school committee. And we have Richard Bailey, who's in that dark square, who is an actual appointee. And our brand new, as of last night at this time, Marla Manier has joined us, who will be one of the 3 appointed members to this committee. So there's our introductions. Oh, there's Richard's name. And tonight, the purpose of tonight, since it looks clear that Lincoln's not coming, is to just introduce each other, introduce Marla, and then just have a quick talk about the mission, which I had great intentions of being able to share my screen to remind us all. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, look at me. And you guys, I'm new, and Marla's new. You guys met once.
Yeah.
Which I probably like February, maybe? No, I don't even know how long ago it was.
Early February.
Yeah.
February. Okay. So I would imagine that the charter's pretty fresh. But I did want to open it up and see if anybody wanted to had any particular comments about the current mission, if it needs to be revised in any way. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if I can make it bigger.
That's fine. I can read it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, looks good.
So no comments.
No issues with the mission.
Okay. The only one that I would say is we've put in outdated methodologies, structures, best practices, gender neutrality, inefficiencies. That. The only thing I wondered is, given that the town is now actively putting together a diversity and inclusion committee, that we might want to expand the mission to ensure that all the things we're going to look at are also socially and racially justice minded. Mm-hmm. I'm not suspecting there's that much in our charter, but if we're going to be looking for gender neutrality, it seems to be a logical extension is to make sure there's nothing of any kind of racial or social justice bias in there that we just haven't noticed before.
Right. That makes sense.
It makes good sense.
Richard, would you have any objection to that?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay. I'm not sure if we can actually change the mission. I'll have to check with Lorraine, who's our admin, who knows all this stuff, and our town administrator. But even if it's not an official, I would think that that's something we should all be mindful of, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, just to make it easy for the public to understand our mission, if there is a really short way to say that instead of a big long way, like gender neutrality, we know what that is. So I don't know what the phrase would be, but.
Well, what we've been saying is social and racial justice.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Marla is actually taking the lead on forming that group within Town Hall. So I'll check with her. I mean, not Marla, sorry, Maura. Oh, right. Forgot, I told you, I didn't tell you I nominated you for that. No, Maura Curran is taking the lead for the board on that. Okay. Good. Well, then the next steps we have to do is you need to tell Marla and I if you guys have even sort of fleshed out what you think the next steps should be.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nicole.
I mean, in our first meeting, it was really like general introductions, and I guess we started we kind of were looking at how to break up the work, I think, mostly, and where to begin. And one thing that came out of it was looking at, any other like-minded, similar towns that had made changes and what those were, and kind of looking at that, not that it might fit Scituate, but maybe we kind of can cherry pick things that we think apply to us, and just a starting place to kind of jump off of. Mm-hmm. And jump in, Richard, too. But
yeah, and along those lines, I agreed to basically get copies of the charters of 3 similar towns which I did, and they've been sitting in the back seat of my car for the last 6 months.
That's great, though. I'm impressed that you have them. 'Cause
And
you
I
might have
have
abandoned that right from the start after the.
I have copies of the Norwell, the Sandwich, and the Longmeadow charters. That
Oh, awesome.
somehow, if we wanted to, I mean, they're all towns of similar size and in makeup, in geography. But if there's, I have copies here. I have 8 copies. How we distribute them, I'm gonna have to leave up to people smarter than me about this.
Well, I think the easiest way to do that, do you all have your hard copies, Marla? I don't know if you picked up, you have, if you want hard copies, you have the digital, but
Yes.
probably the easiest thing, Richard, is if you brought them to the selectman's office,
Okay.
and then each of us can just pick it up whenever it's
Yeah.
convenient for us, and then
Cool.
Lorraine can hold those.
Yeah.
Not a
Do
problem.
you know, have those have those 3 had a recent review as well?
They have. They're all been reviewed within the last 10 years.
Okay, cool.
So I didn't pick somebody who, like, the last review was in the 1960s.
Look, we get
Right.
to check something off. Check.
When was the last time Scituate was done?
Last time, pardon me?
When was the last time we looked at ours?
I should know this in my head. It was a while ago, and
It was a while. I
was-
can't remember.
It was Joan Norton and Matt Brown and Ann Burbine. Actually, it's probably right here on this. It was.
I know, I
I
should've
can
put-
tell you, it was last revised on March 29th, 2003.
Okay.
So, and it's been amended 1, 2, 3, 4 times in total since it was created.
Mm.
So it's time.
Yeah, and the ones I picked out, Norwell's 2012. Longmeadow was revised in 2019.
Oh, wow.
And I forget when Sandwich was done. But I picked them because they were done recently. 2014, so.
Those were perfect. I don't know, I guess that's the right criteria. I was wondering, thinking out loud, should we look at the adjacent communities, Cohasset and Marshfield?
Sure.
I mean, they're not, obviously Marshfield's much bigger, Cohasset's much smaller. What do you think? Is it germane to our?
I think it's not a problem. We could do that. It's certainly a simple enough administratively. But, I just tried to make it so, like, from different parts of the state, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That's why I picked Longmeadow. That's why, I settled on Sandwich, in Norwell, because Norwell's next door, obviously.
Okay. I'm comfortable with
I
it.
feel like we always get asked what,
What they do
the
next door.
obvious neighbor comparisons always. So
Yeah.
even though it
Any
is different,
reason
like you
to
said.
include Hingham? Just
Well-
because I don't know.
Because they're bigger and they get more things done?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said politely.
Pause, leaving it blank, ...
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt to, I think we're going to find a lot of it is very similar boilerplate stuff. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think that's a good span.
Okay. Then we'll have answered the, what are they doing near us question,
Right. All around.
which always comes up. Did you talk anything about seeking advice from either moderators or, other sort of experts in this kind of review?
My recollection is we didn't get that far.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's when I was just trying to think about, well, obviously the first step is to look see other people do.
Right.
Then, review our charter for obvious things like gender neutrality, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right. Like the language updates kind of thing.
Yeah. And then when I looked at the charge, I was sort of like, well, I'm not a lawyer and, or it's not even constitutional, but charter review law expert is should we be talking to some of those people? Or do we do that after we kind of think about what we like and don't like about other charters? What do you guys think?
I think in the last meeting, the methodology that we discussed, we didn't decide on anything, The methodology that we discussed was essentially we were going to go through Situate's charter and kind of do comparisons with other charters, section by section, to see where we could improve Scituate as opposed to, whether or not we might be ahead and, further along in our development than certain other cities. But we didn't really get into any substantive discussion, quite frankly.
Okay. Well, then maybe what we should talk about is just how to divide up. You've got 3 right now. And if we get Cohasset, Marshfield, and Hingham, that's basically, we could each take 1 and do that comparison.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What do you think? Richard, Marla?
Yep.
No problem.
So you've got yours in paper format. Okay.
Kathy didn't have one for me.
Pardon me?
Kathy didn't have a paper one for me. I went today. She said she didn't have any. So
Marla, Lorraine had them. Sorry.
okay. All right.
Okay. But no, I mean the Norwell Sandwich and Longmeadow, those we can.
Yeah, I'll just drop those off at the selectman's office.
Okay. Does anybody, well, since we're here, we get first dibs. Anyone have a burning desire to pick a town, one of these towns?
I'm happy to be assigned any town.
Yeah, me too. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Marla, do you want to chew on Hingham?
I'll chew on Hingham because I'm the one who suggested it. Sure.
All right, you get Hingham. I'd love to look at the Longmeadow since that's the newest one. Who wants Norwell?
I'll take Norwell.
Oh,
Okay.
good. You take it. My wife teaches there. I don't want to take it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. That means, Richard, you get Sandwich.
Perfect.
And then Cohasset and Marshfield, I'll talk to Becky and Lincoln. Or let's just assign Becky Cohasset and Lincoln gets Marshfield.
Perfect.
Where does he work?
It's
Hanover?
really efficient.
Yeah. And that's all. Oh, Andy gets a pass.
That's okay. Come back to haunt them later.
Pick one.
Just what? I'm sorry?
Pick one.
Um,
Like a new one. So we have 7.
oh yeah, no, I know. It's I know Richard's already thought about this. Is there another community that you would have put on the short list that we didn't?
It was 5 months ago.
No.
Something similar to our demographic, like
Well, we could go really crazy and look. Oh no, they're not. They don't have. We have to have kind of.
How about Metro West or North?
I was gonna say, even like a North Shore, like what's like at Ipswich or something, like
Yeah.
something sort of seacoast kind of.
Well, Swampscott demographically is very similar.
Swampscott.
Yeah.
They have a board of selectmen and. All right,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Swampscott. I always think of Swampscott and Marsh and Marblehead are so similar to Cohasset and Scituate.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andy just got Swampscott. And the governor, it's the governor's town, so it must be good, right? Good, okay. And then the other 2 things on our agenda is I wanted to talk to you guys about my proposal we have special town meeting has now been scheduled for November 16th, assuming we can do it then. And most of that will be stuff we normally do, plus all the stuff that got postponed from annual. But I have requested that the gender neutral title of the board not wait until we are all done, and that we immediately become, put the language in to become a select board. We're like, in my opinion, we're way behind on that one. And I can't imagine that we're not going to end up there anyway. So the board was supportive of that last night, and I just wanted to see if any of you thought it should wait, if you were okay with it, or the women are shaking their heads. Richard, we cannot see your face, which is not fair.
Don't we all stumble over it
Well,
already?
let
We're
me
like, select men, women, men. Select.
No, I know.
Let me just say that having been in politics 40 years ago in Connecticut, first rule I learned was always give them the easy ones. So why wouldn't we do that?
Right. And it's at this point, it's like, even at the high school graduation I attended this weekend, which was phenomenal. they, you know, of course, we're acknowledging the school committee and did you notice this, Nicole? Several people said, and the select board, because it's
Yes.
silly.
It just feels better. Yes, exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's low hanging fruit. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that no one has any objection to that. So I'll say it was based on the recommendation of this committee, but it's in the chart,
Great.
it's in the mission to make it. So
Yeah.
we'll get that ball rolling. Obviously, that as will probably several things have to be blessed by the legislature. But the good news is they're in session until the end of the year instead of being done July 31st this year. So whatever, we'll figure it out. The whole world's just making it up now at this point.
For sure.
Yeah. So the last thing I had on the agenda was just figuring when we want to meet, how often we want to meet, and how you want to just sort of structure the review. Any thoughts on that?
I think we were trying to do every couple of weeks when we were first, convened. I have no, problem with that. Only problem is, for the next couple of weeks, people travel a little bit more than usual.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know next week I'll be in upstate New York, and 2 weeks I'll be in Texas. And then there's a little quarantine thing I got to do when I come back from Texas. So.
Wow. Well, the first chunk is kind of meaty anyway, if we're going to be looking through 2 whole charters.
Yeah.
So do you want, what the hell date is today? Today's the 5th. The Labor Day this year, can you believe it, is the 7th. So it's the ways out. What about September? Do we like Wednesdays?
Yeah.
Generally, they're good for me. Marla's got a lot on her plate.
I just have the library foundation. I'm trying to think this is the first Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's all I have, I have the library foundation.
Would it, if we met at 6, I don't know everything's so weird now, so it's like,
Yeah.
You meet at 7 with the foundation?
Yeah, but only once a month. I'm trying to remember, well, this is the first Wednesday.
That's what I'm thinking, if it's the first Monday.
So if we met the second Wednesday,
The 9th.
maybe.
That would give us basically 1, 2, 3. That would give us a month, more than a month, 5 weeks to do the review of the other charters.
And I'll tell you what, obviously the next meeting will be scheduled, and because it's weird, we didn't meet in July, so this was if it looks like I forget what it is, if it's the first or second Wednesday. So whatever it is, I'll ask your forgiveness so we can shift it.
Sure.
To the first, if it's the second, if that is okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Wednesdays are fine by me. Our
I'll
meeting.
find out.
Wednesdays are
I can let you
typically
know.
best for me.
Say it
Is
again?
there better times? Wednesdays are typically best because there's other town meetings, Tuesdays and Thursdays, almost always. Is there a time that works best for you guys?
My time's pretty much my own. I make my own hours, so whatever works for you guys.
Nicole? Mother
Well,
of
I guess
children?
it depends.
Yeah,
Actually, Wednesdays, no matter what, I will likely be remote. So Wednesdays are fine anytime.
But what time works best with your family? Does 7 work, or is that bedtime, getting ready for bed? Does 6
I
better?
can do 6 is fine, 7's fine. Any of that is completely fine.
All right, why don't we say 6? And if that's okay with everybody.
Sure.
So that's 9 at 6 p.m.
Okay. So right now, 9, 6 p.m. Chata. Okay. Does anyone else have something on their minds that that they want to talk about this process?
No,
You good to go? All right. All right, we have our marching orders then, somewhere written down.
So Richard, when you got those charters, how did you do it?
well, basically, I just went online and, well, first of all, there is a pretty good national organization of, cities and towns or something. I can't remember. And so I just kind of did, Google search for charter revisions. Then I did them in Massachusetts. Then I just kind of whittled it down to Massachusetts, things of that nature. And, then it gives you the whole towns in one. There's a list of all the towns that have had their charter revisions and what, or that have charters or are not in corporations like cities. And then, basically I was just casting about for towns that seem kind of similar to Scituate.
Yeah, but how did you get the physical? You have it in paper, right?
Oh, yeah, I downloaded them, downloaded their
And then
charters,
you printed them out.
and then I had Staples print them.
Okay,
and
perfect.
Staple them.
Good.
Richard, you just gave me a thought is one thing, one resource that we definitely should tap into is the Metropolitan Municipal Association.
Yeah.
Because they're going to know exactly who's done it or, who's done a recent review, that kind of stuff. I'm obviously a member of that currently. Has anybody else affiliated with them? All right, why don't I also send an email to their director and let them know that we've launched this and ask him for resources.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
That's great.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have in our world, we have the Mass Association of School Committees, or we go straight to the Attorney General's office for stuff. So
Yeah, they're
I don't know
MMA
what
great.
the body would be, you know what I mean? To kind of
Every
look for
time
that.
there's an annual, there used to be, in the old world, we had an annual convention and every single breakout session would include charter review discussion.
Yeah.
There's, and the town council people would definitely, I've went to a couple of them because this is something that I think is long overdue in our town. So This is great. Okay, I will talk to MMA and see what resources we have. We'll reconvene on oh shit, I just realized it's my husband's birthday.
Uh-oh.
Oopsie.
Well, we can make it another day, another week.
Yeah, we can.
It's very flexible. Let me find out when our meetings are, and then we'll pick the day, either the first Wednesday or the third Wednesday.
All right, so we'll pencil in.
Wednesdays are generally fine for me, so I'm completely flexible on which one, personally.
Okay, Marla, you check your schedule. My husband's used to, if we meet at 6, then that's fine anyway, because he doesn't usually hang up his coat until 7. So. Oops.
Yeah, but you need to be making his delicious dinner.
He's used to it. 30 some odd years later.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, great. Thank you, everybody. And I will,
Thank you.
I'll contact the folks that have not been able to, were not able to attend. And,
You know what? Just let me. I will text you tonight when I find out when our next meeting is, and then that way you can set up the meeting and contact them with the correct date.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Marla. Say hi to the foundation. Tell them I missed them.
Yeah.
All right, everyone have a great night.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nice meeting all of you.
You too. Bye.